Congratulations! You're now the first author of a scientific paper. My name is Kali Tal, and I'm here to show you how to manage your team of co-authors. I'll help you avoid the time-consuming trial-and-error approach and write better scientific papers faster. Whether you're an early career researcher or an experienced writer, you can improve your co-authoring process. Most first authors are junior scholars who are outranked by the last author. The last author may be your supervisor or the PI of your grant. You may even be junior to most of your collaborators. This is a common paradox for first authors. You have to do most of the work on the manuscript while you stand near the bottom of the power hierarchy. Coordinating a team of senior collaborators is like herding cats. Each co-author is an independent thinker, but you must get them to converge at the right spot at the right time. A hard truth about first authorship is that some of your co-authors might not be as committed to finishing the paper as you are. The paper you are authoring is likely your primary focus. Your collaborators may be juggling several papers and other responsibilities. Many tasks are demanding their attention. Given this dynamic, it's unlikely you can just issue orders and demand your co-authors meet deadlines. Instead, you must master the art of leading from behind. To do this, I suggest structuring the authorship process to incrementally increase your team's investment in the paper. I'll explain how to solicit useful advice and support, reducing the likelihood that co-authors will disrupt the process by demanding enormous changes at the last minute. To increase the team's investment, you must fulfill your responsibilities as first author. Few supervisors explain these responsibilities, so most early career scientists learn by painful experience. I will help you avoid these mistakes. Your first responsibility: collect information about your co-authors. Who are they? What are their tasks? What products are they expected to deliver? Some last authors give you an organized list of co-authors and their responsibilities, but many don't. Start your paper writing process with some detective work. Create a spreadsheet or use a project management tool to collect information about each co-author and their tasks. Don't forget to get contact information because you'll need to keep in touch with each of your collaborators. If you have a disorganized supervisor or last author who tells you about your co-authors verbally or in scattered emails, summarize this information into a single document. Send the document back to your senior for review and agree on who is doing which tasks before you contact your co-authors. Once your supervisor or last author signs off on the list you've compiled, write to each co-author and share your understanding of their role, tasks, and products. Seek correction, clarification, and ultimately confirmation. If their expectations differ significantly from yours, resolve the issue with your supervisor's help. When tasks are specified in writing and mutually agreed upon, it is much harder for a co-author to redefine them later. Once roles, tasks, and end products have been defined, it's time to tackle deadlines. Here's a reality check. People are often late, even senior scholars. When I began editing an academic journal, I assumed that contributors would adhere to their deadlines. I soon realized this was not the case. For any given deadline, I could expect about half the authors would be late. Learning from this experience, I adopted a two-tier deadline system, one for me, the other for my authors. I set the authors' deadlines as far ahead of mine as possible, counting on half to be late. With 8 co-authors, 4 would miss the first deadline, 2 would miss the next, and 1 might even miss the third. But setting the last deadline well in advance reduced my stress over consistently late authors. Establishing the consequences of missed deadlines helped. If 1 or 2 co-authors repeatedly delay the process, you can ask a senior co-author for help. Your seniors can step in and have tough conversations with late authors, mete out consequences, and move the work along. Regular reminders also help keep co-authors on track. Touch base with your co-authors a week or 2 before deadlines, check on their progress, and reiterate the due date. If they miss a deadline, follow up after 48 hours to set a new deadline and again remind them before it comes due. To use deadlines as a managerial tool, you must track every author's assignments and deadlines from the start. Keep lines of communication open with your co-authors. Create a robust tracking system and update it throughout the paper writing process. Depending on the project tracking system you select, you can grant all co-authors access so they can see the team's progress towards finalizing the paper. Increasing transparency and harnessing the power of peer pressure will speed paper writing. Co-authors can see who has fulfilled their responsibilities and who has yet to do so. Systematically organizing and regularly updating your list of co-authors and their tasks can also deter seniors who want to add honorary authors. These are co-authors who did not substantially contribute to the paper. This practice may be discouraged if all contributions are explicitly outlined from the start and tracked throughout. Today, most reputable journals require you to disclose each author's contributions. As a result, including an honorary author requires an explicit lie, which may explain why this practice is growing less common. When co-authors send you their work, you enter the next stage, which is soliciting and responding to constructive criticism. When a co-author submits work to you, whether they're prompt or late, you should respond within a 24 to 48-hour window. Even if you're overwhelmed and cannot review their submission immediately, it's crucial to acknowledge their contribution. You can tell them, "I'm swamped with other tasks until Thursday. I'll review your submission and give you feedback by next Monday." Then do what you said you would do. After you review their contribution, initiate a dialogue to raise questions or offer suggestions. Your goal is to reach consensus with each co-author on each analysis or segment of text they produce. Once the two of you agree, both you and your co-author can throw your collective support behind the final product. This procedure validates their contribution and builds your collegial relationship. Coming to consensus with each co-author gives you needed leverage if you must later resolve disagreements or handle suggestions for major changes in the manuscript. To recap briefly, the first point of convergence in paper writing is defining and agreeing on each co-author's role and tasks. The second point of convergence is agreeing on deadlines for delivering work. The third point of convergence is agreement on the message of the paper, which you can craft when you finish your analysis. To establish your message, simplify your key findings into a table. Share the table with your co-authors and ask them for feedback. Once your team has agreed on your key findings, you can add a second column to the table and ask your collaborators to list the implications of each finding. Next, meet with your co-authors as a group if possible and finalize the table of findings and implications. Then use the table to draft your paper's message. Distill your findings and their implications into a single compelling sentence, the message sentence that will guide the paper's structure and narrative. Developing your message sentence will take time. You will continue to improve it until you submit the final manuscript. Your initial message drafts don't have to be perfect, but they should clearly convey the main point of your paper. Agreeing on the contents of this sentence and sending around updated versions will streamline your writing process, reminding co-authors of your message and keeping the paper on track. Only when you know your message can you choose the most suitable journal for your paper. A timely and far-reaching message on a popular topic might make your paper appropriate for a high-impact journal with a general audience. A niche message might indicate you would be better off submitting your paper to a specialized journal. Selecting your target journal will guide your paper's format, length, organization, data presentation, and abstract. After your collaborators agree on your message and your target journal, you can start to draft the paper outline. Familiarity with the outlining process is vital, especially for non-native English speakers, as outlines conform to the structure of English paragraphs. After agreeing on your paper's message, start by outlining its structure, but refrain from writing in full English sentences and paragraphs until the team approves the structure. Once you agree on the structure, you know what each paragraph in the paper should cover. This again limits requests for last-minute, off-topic changes from your co-authors. If co-authors propose structural changes, ask, "How does this lead us to the message?" Or, "How does this help the reader?" At this stage, co-authors are more likely to suggest crucial changes that genuinely improve the paper, and less likely to insist on changes that don't showcase the paper's message. Welcome feedback on your outline, incorporate suggestions, and keep refining until everyone approves. Co-authors usually won't challenge the team unless they know they are right, which is exactly when you want them to stand firm. Once your team agrees on the outline, begin writing formal paper drafts, filling in the outline with sentences and paragraphs. With each circulated draft, your influence grows as the group edges closer to consensus on the final manuscript. However, you still need to be proactive in soliciting constructive feedback, a crucial skill. The more specific you are about what you need, the more valuable the feedback you'll receive. Your co-authors want to help, but if you don't tell them what kind of help you need, you may receive useless suggestions, like grammar and style corrections too early in the process. Guide your co-authors to provide the feedback you need. Request they focus in their areas of expertise. Ask them to examine the structure and flow of the narrative and help you identify errors or gaps. For example, if you're using data reporting guidelines, ask a co-author to double-check and ensure the paper draft includes all required information. In later drafts, ask co-authors to check terminology, fact-check, verify the reproducibility of your methods, check citations, and invite native speakers to comment on grammar and style. Making specific feedback requests increases the likelihood you will receive the advice and support you need. Focus on getting the group to converge on tasks, on deadlines, on the message of your paper, and your paper structure. If your team agrees on these, your progress will be smooth and swift, and you can avoid late-stage chaos caused by last-minute proposals for major changes. By asking for the right kind of feedback at each step and integrating it as you receive it, you can limit unnecessary tweaks in the final round and get your paper out the door faster. I hope you now feel better prepared to embark on your paper writing journey.